Whether you believe that cryptocurrency will eventually replace cold hard cash or not, there is no denying that it's here to stay. But that doesn't mean it's immune to plundering by some technical pirates looking for the online equivalent to driving away from a bank robbery in an armored car full of cash. Deutsche Bank has predicted that cryptocurrency could replace cash entirely over the next 30 years. More and more people are looking to invest their money in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies instead of more traditional portfolios consisting of stocks and bonds and precious metals. Not only is the potential return on investment huge if you pick correctly out of the lottery of smaller cryptocurrencies and hit it big, the big draw is the concept that your money is your own. It doesn't reside in a bank or any other financial institution. Access to your own funds is not limited by anyone or anything, and it's super secure. That's not remotely true, as we'll see. When the usually bustling Bitcoin exchange Mt.GOX suddenly went silent, with its website going mysterious offline and its Twitter feed disappearing, people knew something big was going on. When the dust settled, it became apparent that cyber crooks had stolen more than $460 million worth of cryptocurrency from Mt.GOX's online coffers. And this heist almost brought Bitcoin to its knees. Hey, I'm Rob Witcher. In this What the Hack video series, we explore some of the biggest cybersecurity breaches in modern history. If you find cybersecurity as fascinating as I do, then please subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when we release new videos. Mt.GOX was sitting pretty in Tokyo as the world's biggest Bitcoin exchange, a beacon of light, an idea that grew rapidly, surfing the tsunami wave of soaring value and subsequent wealth that the explosion of Bitcoin brought. On the inside, however, it was a tragedy waiting to happen. A potent mixture of bad management, criminal neglect, and complete and utter incompetence and inexperience. The Mt.GOX exchange was founded in 2010 by US programmer Jed McCaleb, and subsequently sold to French developer Marc Karpeles in 2011. It would eventually grow to handle over 70% of all Bitcoin transactions in the world at its peak in 2013, just prior to its fall from grace. Mt.GOX had already been hacked in 2011. A cyber attack that exposed the soft, unprotected underbelly of the company. The hackers were able to compromise a computer used by one of the exchange's auditors. Their plan was a simple one: change the Bitcoin price to a single cent and buy everything. The hackers then went a step further by stealing the private keys of the wallets of clients of Mt.GOX, gaining access to their stored crypto wallets. The hackers then ran selling scripts on these compromised accounts and bought up as much Bitcoin as they could get their hands on at the artificially reduced price of 1 penny before Mt.GOX could catch on to the plot. This would be the first ever major cryptocurrency exchange hack, with a theft raking in somewhere in the vicinity of 2,000 Bitcoins, or around 30 grand worth. Other customers who noticed the ultra cheap price of 1 cent per Bitcoin also managed to buy around 650 Bitcoins, of which 0 were returned to the Mt.GOX despite being purchased due to the actions of calculated saboteurs. Mt.GOX tightened security, reviewed their safety and privacy protocols, and continued business as usual. A shot had been fired over the bow, and was a harbinger of things to come. These crooks were small fry and got away with practically nothing compared to the second attack. The second attack killed Mt.GOX and could have potentially derailed the entire decentralized cryptocurrency dream. On February 7th, 2014, Mt.GOX suspended all Bitcoin transfers for the very simple reason that they had no more Bitcoins. They had been hacked a second time, and the thieves this time had managed to steal everything. Over 850,000 individual Bitcoins had been stolen, of which 750,000 belonged to customers, apparently held safe in their wallets. At peak Bitcoin pricing, this would have been worth over $17 billion, and its current value is about $16.8 billion. Not long after this hack, and as a direct result of the hack, the company filed for bankruptcy as it was no longer able to continue operations. To date, only 200,000 Bitcoins have been retrieved by Mt.GOX, with 0 being redistributed to clients left out of pocket by the digital heist. Empty-handed and penniless, customers sought litigation in order to recover some of their assets, but the courts deemed the Bitcoins belonged to Mt.GOX's creditors, as the company was in a state of bankruptcy. These 200,000 Bitcoins were found in digital wallets that had an old file format dating back to well before June of 2011. Although they promised in an official company statement to return the Bitcoins to clients, they were held in trust indefinitely by creditors as the company is still under bankruptcy protection. After the attack, Bitcoin prices immediately fell to half the value it was prior to the attack. 650,000 Bitcoins remain unaccounted for, and they comprise 3.7% of all Bitcoin supply. It took a full 2 years for Bitcoin to bounce back in value to its original price, as consumer faith wavered over the future and safety of cryptocurrency in general after such a large exchange was exposed not once but twice. In 2019, a Japanese court finally ruled that the Bitcoins held in trust needed to be returned to Mt.GOX for the purposes of redistributing the assets back to clients. Citing civil rehabilitation law, the deadline date of March 2020 has been and gone, with no end in sight for those clients looking to recover some of their assets, which, by the way, are worth substantially more now than they were at the time of the theft. A Russian lawyer by the name of Alexandra Zalizagov has come out of the woodwork, claiming he can help recover up to 200,000 additional stolen bitcoins from Russian citizens. He claims the assets ended up in another, now closed, exchange called Russian BTC-E, and that legal actions could lead to the recovery of these bitcoins. The catch? His firm, ZP Legal, are more than happy to help out after they have signed a document legally obligating Mt.GOX to pay them a fee of 75% of all the value of the bitcoins recovered. Despite everything rapidly falling apart in February of 2014, investigators think that the bitcoins were stolen little by little over a period of time spanning many years. The hacking activity appears to have started back in 2011, operating without anyone's knowledge and slowly siphoning bitcoins out of Mt.GOX without anyone being the wiser. By May of 2013, it's thought that the exchange held 0 bitcoins in reserve, despite what their systems reported. Around the same time as the first attack in 2011, another private key was unencrypted and stolen, though it's unknown whether this key was stolen as a result of the hacking or whether an insider within the company sold it for a quick buck. Over the next few years, bitcoins were skimmed from customer accounts, cleverly masking the theft to look like transfers to more secure addresses, effectively tricking Mt.GOX's own systems and raising 0 red flags. It's entirely possible that as many as 80,000 bitcoins were already missing at the time the company changed hands from founder Mikhailov to the new owner, Karpeles. Disorganization of the leadership group and poor management is blamed for nobody having a clue that the reserves were far short of what they should have been. One of the developers who worked at the company, who has remained anonymous, revealed to investigators that the company did not even use version control software. These most basic of controls are used to prevent developers from overwriting each other's work by accident if they were working on the same file at the same time, and are considered standard must-have tools. It's no wonder that the hackers could enter the systems through an approved, albeit stolen key, make illegal transactions, and then falsify records as they saw fit, covering their tracks, and never once triggering an overwrite error. All changes made to the exchange's source code had to be approved by Mark Karpeles himself, meaning that everything from minor tweaks to bug fixes all the way up to important security updates were waiting weeks and sometimes months to be approved by the top brass. There were other troubles too. In May 2013, Mt.GOX was successfully sued for $75 million for breach of contract by CoinLab, a former business partner. CoinLab was meant to look after the American sector of the clientele base. However, Mt.GOX failed to disclose in negotiations that they were being investigated by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security due to serious allegations they were operating in the U.S. without a license. The U.S. government eventually forced Mt.GOX to repay $5 million in owed revenues. So what were some of the lessons learned from this epic hack? There will always be people looking to exploit weaknesses in the security of large companies, as well as personal computers and at home and everything in between. Mt.GOX was happy to hold bitcoins for their clients, but they lacked many of the most basic security controls that are employed by standard financial institutions. Cryptocurrency is a relatively new inclusion in the world of trading, and as such, further time and resources need to be invested in security in order to deliver on the promises of safety to customers. A big appeal of buying and holding cryptocurrency is that you don't have to deal with a bank. You don't have to ask for your money, and that your money is encrypted and inherently free from the risk of cyber attack. This is clearly not the case. If your bitcoins are being held by an organization, you need to make sure that that organization has good security controls in place, or your bitcoins can just disappear. It's abundantly clear that bankruptcy law is far from adequate when applicable to an exchange of this magnitude being shut down. The fallout of clients losing hundreds of millions of dollars is the sad fact in all of this, with a shift to civil rehabilitation setting a crucial precedent for any such future collapses of cryptocurrency financial institutions. One solution, though it has its own issues, is to use what's known as a hardware e-wallet. It's a little digital device that you can store your cryptocurrency on. Think of it like a thumb drive that holds all your coins. Though this was the largest heist of Bitcoin in terms of raw numbers, it seems that both companies and Bitcoin investors are not learning their lessons. Quadriga CX here in Canada recently lost access to its private keys when the owner passed away, leaving $130 million worth of assets inaccessible. If you found this video interesting and informative, then please hit the thumbs up button so we know you like this type of content. And let us know in the comments below what breaches you want us to cover in future videos. See you in the next one.